What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. The Detroit Pistons are back in action tonight, playing their fourth preseason game of the year. We're going to go over a few different game notes, three things I'm looking forward to seeing, and just kind of give you all a general overview of the game. So before we get into it, give you guys some details on the game itself. This game will be tipping off at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, Sunday, October 13th. It's going to be out in Golden State against the Warriors, and this will be the last game of the preseason and entire year that will not be hosted on Bally Sports Detroit. This game will not be on Bally, but from my understanding, NBA League Pass is free for everybody right now throughout the preseason as a trial. So if you guys sign up for an NBA League Pass trial or just have it in general, you can watch it on there. There are also alternatives to finding these games online. If you know, you know. So to kind of talk about a couple different things that I am looking forward to seeing tonight, the first one is going to be trying to figure out what happened with Jaylen Duren last game. Now, if you guys watched the last previous game against the Phoenix Suns, Jaylen Duren did seem to tweak his ankle in some sort of way in the second quarter. He didn't play in the remainder of the game in the second half, but there really has been no news about what happened with him or how serious it was. All things considered, I think that it's nothing that serious, but I wouldn't be that surprised if he doesn't play tonight. But as of right now, there is nowhere online where I've been able to find any sort of reporting or news regarding this ankle issue. During the preseason, I guess it's not uncommon for teams to not report this type of stuff. Traditionally, if a player goes out for the remainder of the game, you'll get a status update mid-game from the reporters or a beat writer. Didn't get any of that from Jaylen Duren, so that does give me hope that it's nothing that serious. But considering that it's a preseason game, I would not be shocked whatsoever if Duren sits out tonight. And given that assumption, we'll be curious to see what happens with the rotation. I would assume that they just plug Isaiah Stewart into the starting five and then Paul Reed into the backup five and go from there. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. He very well could just be totally fine and play tonight as well. Pretty difficult to say at this point in time. So moving on, the second thing I am curious to see is if Tim Hardaway Jr. gets shifted in the rotation at all. Now, at the start of the preseason, Bickerstaff, our coach, did mention that he wants to try different lineups, see what kind of players mesh with each other, see what looks good together. And throughout the first part of the preseason here, Tim Hardaway Jr. has been plugged into the starting lineup. Even once Tobias got back last game, the starting lineup was Cade, Ivey, Tobias, Duren, along with Tim Hardaway Jr. And I think that surprised most people, even though it's just not that serious, all things considered. However, considering that Tim Hardaway Jr. has not been able to find his shot too much throughout the preseason yet, and he isn't a traditional small forward anyways, I will be curious to see if Bickerstaff maybe tries Simone Fontecchio in that starting spot for Tim Hardaway Jr. and kind of feed him a little bit more minutes, especially because all throughout the offseason, that hypothetical starting lineup is the one that I predicted on this channel and seemed to be kind of the consensus prediction throughout the fan base as well, despite, of course, there being a lot of different options there. So just curious to see what happens with Tim Hardaway. I'm really not worried about him whatsoever. I'm not going to care one bit about the preseason for somebody like Tim Hardaway Jr., who is a 10-year NBA veteran. And there's a very, very large sample size of data and games and everything in between that shows us who he is as a player, so that we really don't have to worry about just 3 preseason games for him. So moving on, the last thing that I do want to mention I'm going to be looking forward to here is going to be Jaden Ivey. Now, throughout the first part of the preseason here, the first 3 games, there's been a lot of bright spots. It's been awesome to see Ron Holland at his compete level. It's been awesome to see Tobias return and him and Cade both getting buckets. But I'd say the number one storyline of the entire preseason so far for the Pistons has been Jaden Ivey and how comfortable he looks, how confident he looks, how well his shot has been hitting, how he's seemingly getting better at picking his spots, using his burst, but in more kind of specific and give or take type of ways, not just going all out all the time, but more methodically using that burst to get to the hoop when he needs to. Overall, it's been a great preseason for Jaden Ivey, so I just want to see that continue. I think it will. I think a lot of the stuff that we're seeing out of Jaden Ivey right now is related to his confidence, related to his comfortability. I think that it's been awesome seeing him and Cade be staggered so that when Cade goes to the bench, Ivey gets even more opportunity. So I just want to see Ivey continue to play as well as he has, because out of quite a few awesome things that have happened throughout the preseason, I'd say Jaden Ivey has been the most impressive out of everything for me, myself personally. So outside of that, nothing too crazy to worry about on the Warriors side. The Warriors have also played 3 preseason games so far. They have not lost a preseason game yet. I wouldn't be too surprised whatsoever if maybe the Warriors start to kind of roll back some of their veteran minutes here towards the back half of the preseason. Of course, they have kind of a mismatched team with a lot of pretty old vets, Draymond and Steph, and they also have a lot of young guys who I'm sure they want to get a better look at here throughout the preseason, such as, Kuminga, Moody, etc. So not really too sure how the Warriors will be handling things. Nevertheless, always a great opportunity to play against Stephen Curry, one of the greatest players of our generation. So if he suits up, which I'm assuming he will, as he has played throughout the rest of the preseason here, at least for a few minutes, it will be cool to see the Pistons get a chance to play against Steph. Will also be interesting to see how they handle that matchup, who they assign to him. Will Ivey kind of be shadowing him throughout the starting lineup minutes? Maybe Holland comes in and gets switched on to Steph, make something fun happen. Really hard to say, but not anything too crazy to write home about here with the Warriors. So outside of that, nothing too out of the ordinary with this preseason game. This is our second to last one. After today, we have one more preseason game on the calendar, and that won't be until Wednesday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That will be back here at home at the Little Caesars Arena, and then 1 week off until the regular season starts. So we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel here, not only for the preseason, but the offseason as a whole. Tobias is back. Cade is back. Hopefully Duren can play tonight. I think we're starting to get some pretty good insights into how this rotation, roster, lineup, etc. will be looking heading into the actual regular season. And it's been fun, man. That last preseason game against the Suns was fun to watch. About as good of a watch for preseason basketball as you can ask for. So I'm looking forward to this game tonight. A little bit later again, so probably won't have a post-game recap out until tomorrow morning. But if I do happen to have a little bit more energy around 11 p.m. tonight than I expect, maybe we'll get it out tonight. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.